Hi Marcin, can you give us an introduction of the book?
Sure. I'm writing a book about personal branding for people working in IT. People such as software developers, designers, and anyone else having a job requiring a computer. And in the book, it's actually a how-to guide. How to promote yourself, how to create your own personal brand, how to do your social media, and there's also some chapters on how to dress yourself, because lots of people in IT, they have a big problem with that. And there's also a part where I actually talk about the mindset, connected to personal branding and self-promotion, because that's the first step people need to take, in my opinion, to promote themselves.
Why do you think personal branding is so important for IT people?
Well, it's important for them because they work for those big corporations very often. They work for marketing companies, and what's paradoxical is that they are behind the infrastructure. They are behind the how to do it, and they are behind the technology. So they know pretty much how to do it, and yet they don't do it themselves. So there is a potential that they can develop in order to do their personal branding, but it's not that they're starting from zero, right? So they have the foundation laid down. But now, what I want to do with my book is actually show them step by step. It's going to be a how-to guide. It's going to be a manual for them to actually, unfold this potential. And it's important for them because it's going to help them increase their income in the future. It's going to actually help them create a team of people around them that they want to work with. And that's a big problem as well. As I speak with people in IT, they don't want to work with people that they work with. They're not happy with where they are. They don't want to do 9 to 5. They want to have more freedom. So the personal branding gives them that credibility as well, gives them that freedom, and it will help them increase their income in the future. So personal branding is like a multiplier, actually. Imagine, let's say, Nike, or imagine Apple. Why are they charging, 3 times more than other manufacturers? Because they have a brand. They have, the logo. They have the reputation behind it, the credibility. And the same is with personal branding, but it's on a smaller scale. People, individuals, very often, they think that they don't have budget, they don't have skills, they're not confident enough, and we actually, in such a developed time, in such an era, that there is technology that you can automate that. And also, particularly people in IT, they have the know-how already. And there's the potential that they can tap into. It's just going through my book, where I explain that in more details of how to do it. You as a brand, as a person, or me, myself, this interview is actually a manifestation of that. You are projecting yourself as a brand, and then you charge in more. And then you go to people, you basically package your skills. Imagine that you're giving someone a gift. Like, they look first at the package of that, and then they take the gift.
So how do you teach personal branding in your book?
I actually split my book into 10 chapters, and in the chapter 1, that's an introduction. That's like I'd say, mental barrier breaking chapter. And then I go with how to manual chapters where I show you step by step what personal branding consists of. And there's gonna be a model, very simplified model that I've made out of everything that I've learned so far about personal branding. So there's gonna be a chapter on social media, on how to dress so people perceive you as a trustworthy, as a professional, and someone who is actually taking care of them, of themselves.
Do you think the CV is still important in this era?
I think that CV it's old, and it should be replaced, especially in IT field, should be replaced with a new format. And by new format, I mean we've got videos, we've got websites, we've got other forms such as social media where we can put out our content. So I think CV is totally old, it should be replaced. And some of the companies, they require you still to bring the CV, and that's because they haven't updated the format yet, but it will happen in a few years. It's like, we are using smartphones nowadays instead of our TV. So our smartphone became our TV, our television basically. And by the same token, personal branding is a new form of CV, where we're using social media, we're using video technology, and we're using everything that's available to us in order to build a profile online, to build an online avatar.
So do you think most IT people have been responsive to this change, or do they still use the old method most of the time?
Well, they use the old methods because that's what's known. As I said, personal branding is a new concept, and lots of people, they have no clue. There's no one expert on that really, and lots of people who come and say, "Oh, I will teach you personal branding," they actually say, "Oh, based on the current understanding and based on the current technology, this is something that I will teach you." And let's imagine in 20 years there's gonna be, AI all over, and the virtual technology as well, virtual world. So personal branding will be different. And for now, the video is the easiest channel to put out content, and that's how you can build a bridge of trust and of accountability, of credibility, before you even start a transaction with someone.
For someone who is just starting out on personal branding, what are some simple tips you can give them just to start?
Well, first they need to change their mentality, because it all starts with the mental attitude and the mental approach, and then there are steps, and there is how. There is all the tools around personal branding. So first of all, I'd say, change your mindset about it, because lots of people are shy. They say, "I'm introvert," or "It's not for me, it's for the big guys." So it's all mentality. And then it's actually, all right, how to, and the tools about social media, about your outlook, about your appearance, and all the components of personal branding.
So can you give us some top benefits of having a personal brand?
Yeah, so one of the benefits I tell my audience is credibility, and building the bridge before you actually go out there and present yourself. I mean, just think about your first interview, or anyone in the audience. Think about the first interview. You went to the employer and you said, "Hey, I'm looking for the job, and this is my CV. Please take me." And people are crawling on their belly or on their knees to ask for a job, and then straight away their value goes down. So they need to prove themselves to the employer. And the personal branding, what it does, it totally eliminates this process of you proving yourself. it's a leverage. So number one is a leverage. It will help you leverage your value straight away. And when you come for a business function, or when you're in a situation where it's some sort of it's some sort of project or thing like that, some sort of formal situation, then very often the branding elevates you, and that's like the benefit number one. It elevates you straight away before you step in the door.
So in the summary of the book, you mentioned some big companies like Apple or Nike. What do you think are some of the personal branding techniques that IT people can learn from these big companies?
Well, they can learn how to create an online avatar, and that's one of the big chapters in my book. They can learn that the perception is reality. And those big brands are, let's say, McDonald's as an example. You go around and you hear, whether it's in the radio or on YouTube or somewhere else, you just hear and see their advertisement and they're saying, "Oh, McDonald's, I'm loving it." And what if I said to you that an employer, and I'm not saying you need to target on a scale like McDonald's does or those big giants, but target to let's say 1,000 people, and I guarantee you're gonna be successful. If you target to them, and they're in their mind, when they think about the problem and they want a solution and they think about you, then I guarantee this is something that personal branding it stands for, and as I said, elevates the brand, and one of the very important techniques is to actually to create this perception, to create this image.
So you recently changed the structure of the book after a few months. What was the reason for the change, and what changes did you make?
All right, so I spoke with my editor last week, and we decided to go from 4 chapters to 10 chapters, and that's because chapter 2 was going completely out of scope. And what I've learned in the process of writing the book is that you actually need to be very specific, otherwise the book will take forever. And I want my book to be very specific, on point, and as I said, it's a sort of how-to guide and a manual for people to do their personal branding. All the profit from the sale of the book will go to children in orphanages, because I myself was in the orphanage, and I know how hard it is for those kids. They're alone, and very often they don't have financials to educate themselves, to develop themselves, and I know there is a lot that I can help them with, but for that, money is needed. And so I decided that whatever I can do, I'm gonna, I'd say, transform it into a project. So the book is partly written also because I want to contribute to the kids in the orphanages, and that drives me, that motivates me, and all the profit from the sale will go to the kids in the orphanages.
Is there any reason people should sign up now instead of waiting for the actual book release?
Yeah, well, if you sign up now at marcinruman.com/book, and the link can be found in the description, then you will be the first one who will hear all about what's coming. And if you're the first one, that means that you can start branding yourself. That means that you've got direction where to go. And I'm definitely not the only person on the internet that will give you the knowledge about branding, but I'm definitely the first one in IT sector, because I haven't seen anyone who's been doing personal branding in this particular field. So if you know anyone, then let me know, but I've done my research and there is no one literally in the sector doing that. Mm-hmm. That's why I will give free bonuses, I will give value, and I will guide you before the book even is being released. I will guide you how to do your personal branding, and then you can get the book before anyone gets it.
Can you tell us a little bit about your background and reasons why people should listen to you about personal branding?
I started 5 years ago my professional career as a software developer, and 3 years after I discovered that hard technical skills aren't enough. Unfortunately, for some people, we're in the era where you need to do something more than just learn the nitty-gritty of your job. You need to basically do your personal branding, and you need to promote yourself. And lots of people working for someone else, they are very often just happy with where they are, and it's not required from them. It's not their responsibility to start promoting themselves. And if they promote themselves, they could also promote their brand. So I think that's going to be beneficial for the employer and for the people themselves once they start doing the personal branding. And so I discovered 3 years ago that this is not enough, and I started attending psychology courses, attending personal branding courses, marketing courses, and what I discovered is that I get a lot of this knowledge, but so what? If I don't apply it, then nothing happens, right? This is just like a mental masturbation. And so because I'm a doer, I decided I'm gonna apply it, and it was incredibly hard. It was tough. That's why I decided to put it in the book after a few years of actually doing that and successfully building my own personal brand, so that people who want to do it themselves nowadays, after me, they can do it easier, cheaper, and their emotional bank account will be also, I think, calmer than mine. So it's definitely gonna make them more comfortable.